Hey everyone, this video is to help you with Unit 3, Lesson 1, where we are focusing on the play Stand Up by Sitting In. And this page right here has the main topics that will be covered in your slides. So you can review this video and move straight to your checkpoint, or you can go through all the slides like normal. The option is yours, or you can do both, depending on what you need. These are the highlights of what is in the lesson, the most important things that you want to pull out. These are also the items that will be tested. So, first thing is our poem, Stand Up by Sitting In. Right under this video, that poem is linked. So you can take a minute, watch that video, and hear the story being read to you. You also have the option of reading it yourself, which is in the lesson if you would like to do it that way. But you can do either one. The next thing that we want to talk about is our vocabulary, the key words from this lesson right here. So let's look at these together. Our vocabulary for this lesson are the words character, details, and drama. Now, these words you probably are already familiar with somewhat, but we're going to review them anyways. So characters are the people or animals that are in a fictional text. So when we're talking about something that is fiction or not real, we call them characters. If we were talking about a real person, or if talking about nonfiction, they're not characters, they're actual people. So remember that it has to be in a fictional text, and it can also be animals. Anybody who has a main part here, who's doing talking, who's interacting together. These are your characters. The details are the main pieces of information in a text that you're reading. So as you're reading through, anything that you're picking up or any big pieces of information, those are the details in the text. And then the last one is a drama. A drama is a play. So you might hear it called a play, you may hear it called a drama. It's a story that's meant to be performed in front of an audience. There's different types of plays, there's different types of dramas, but the key thing is it's performed in front of an audience. All right, so let's go back. That's the vocabulary. Let's go back and look at, I put them in a different order, but I actually want to move on to theme next. Theme, because this is tying in with our poem still. Theme is a lesson that the audience learns. We've talked about themes within other types of text, just like there are themes there. There's also themes within a drama or a play as well, or a poem, just a lesson that is to be learned by whoever's reading it or the audience. Some key important things is the way that we identify a theme or the way that we can find it, because that's generally a harder thing to do. When somebody says, what's the theme of this? A lot of times we'll have people who want to tell you the main idea, the main thing it's about, which maybe sometimes they line up, but the theme is a little bit different because it is trying to get us to identify what's the lesson that we're learning here. So we can identify theme by looking at the details within the story. You're not going to be able to tell someone the theme of a story if you haven't read through it and went through the details. So that's really important. If you're trying to figure out a theme and you're not quite sure how to do that, questions that you could be asking yourself to help identify what that theme is how are the characters behaving? What are they doing? Are they angry? Are they happy? Are they sad? What's their behavior like? Because a lot of times that'll lead us into the next question, which is what are the characters learning? What did the characters learn within that story, poem, play, drama? And then finally, what lesson might this poem or story be trying to teach? So that's the big one right there. I always like to ask myself, if I'm trying to find the theme, I ask myself, what lesson is this trying to teach me? Because if I can identify that, or if you can pull that out, that's going to help you find your theme. Because usually the lesson that is trying to teach you as the reader is the theme. All right, let's go back up here. Now we have two more areas that we're going to look at. Suffixes, what are those? And idioms. So we'll start with the suffix. We're kind of moving into the grammar side of the lesson right now. And I pulled up an anchor chart that I thought was really good. This is a visual for you to be able to look at it and give you some examples of what a suffix is. So first, a suffix is added to the end of a base word. So your main word, and then this is at the end of it, and it changes the meaning. So here's some examples of suffixes: full, less, ness, able, ly, or y at the end. So let's look at those individually. Full, meaning full of. So if I have the base word help and I put full at the end of it, it changes it. Helpful, it's someone who is helping, someone who is being helpful to you. Cheer, someone just means happy. Cheerful, somebody who has a happy disposition, who has a good attitude. Fear, obviously that just means being scared. Fearful, a person who is scared. So it's not changing the meaning of the base word, but it makes it different within your sentences, right? You're not going to write, I was fear of going down the street. No, you might say, I was fearful to go down the street. So you have to have those endings, those suffixes, to make the sentence make sense. Less, without. Fearless. Okay, if you're fearful, you're full of fear, right? If you're fearless, you don't have any fear. You're not scared at all. If you're helpful, you're willing to be helped. You're full of helping. If you're helpless, you have no help whatsoever, or you're not able to help whatsoever. So those endings, those suffixes, make a difference. Ness at the end, a state of being. Sick or sickness. Sad or sadness. So it's just a way that the person is. Ill, illness. Happy, happiness. And able, able to or can be. Comfortable, able is at the end. Breakable, it's able to be broken. Washable, it's able to be washed. Ly, in this way, in a blank way. So slowly, quickly, closely, quietly. How's it happening? Slowly. You're not going to say, oh, the person ran slow down the road. You would say the person ran slowly down the road. And then the last one is why, having. Rainy, lumpy, dusty, bumpy. It just is saying what it is, the type of thing it is. So we need those suffixes to help us put the words in the sentence properly. It comes at the end, that's important, and it changes it slightly. All right. Now, the last one that we're going to look at for this lesson is idioms. So let's look at that one. Now, idioms are an expression that is said that doesn't mean its actual words. So you'll see what I mean here when we go into some of these examples. And the main thing is being able to identify what is the non-literal or what is the meaning of it, but not what it says. So let's look at an example to make this make sense. The first one, I'm afraid I really put my foot in my mouth this time, I told Mike. I despised our new football coach, and then I found out that the coach is Mike's stepdad. So does that mean when he said, I'm afraid I really put my foot in my mouth this time, does that literally mean the person put their foot in their mouth? No, that's a saying. It's an idiom that means I accidentally said something I shouldn't have said or that offends somebody. So if you hear, oh, they really put their foot in their mouth, you're not actually putting a foot in your mouth. You're saying something that maybe shouldn't have been said. That's an example of an idiom. All right, let's look at another one. Calm down, you're crying over spilled milk, Tessa told her younger brother. No one will even notice the rip in your pants. Now, was her younger brother actually crying because the milk was spilled? No, it had nothing to do with milk. It's a saying that just means you're being upset over something that can be fixed. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. We can take care of it easily. All right, we're not really crying over the milk is spilled. Although, I will say I have cried over spilled milk. A whole gallon of it has spilled before, and I'm like, oh man, I have to clean all of this up. All right, next one, example. I need to send an invitation to Maria and thank you note to her mom. I might as well kill two birds with one stone and mail them together. Do you think that the person is actually going to kill two birds with a stone in order to mail something to Maria and her mom? No, it's a saying, it's an idiom that actually means do two things at once. So I'm able to do this and this at the same time and get them both taken care of. I'm not actually killing two birds with a stone. And another example, did you see Garrett out on the dance floor? That guy really knows how to cut a rug, said Star. Do you think Garrett was on the dance floor actually cutting a rug? No, cutting a rug is an idiom for dancing. So we have lots and lots and lots of examples. These are just a few of idioms, and maybe you and your learning coach can look some up, or maybe you can talk about some that you guys know and use on a regular basis, but they're basically sayings that aren't literally what they sound like. They have a different meaning. Okay, so in review, you can always come back here and click through these slides and see the pictures. You can just watch the video, but make sure that you read through the story and that you're comfortable with all of these before you go to your quick check.